Welcome to the Iron Mobility Fitness channel. I'm Coach Jeff here with you today. We're going to have some fun. We are doing a dynamic warm-up for squats. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff for the lower body, just 5 to 10 minutes here, but really packing it in so you get the warm-up that you need for your squat day, no matter what kind of squats you're doing. I'm going to use two tools for this. I'm going to have a small weight and a band, so you'll need those for the workout, but that's it. Other than that, it's going to be all body weight and movement related. So we're going to start today with the base, our ankles, knees, and then hips. So I'm going to start here with some nice ankle dorsiflexion lunges, just pushing up. I'm in a half kneeling position here, and I'm going to do these for reps. This is just challenging my ankle flexion, starting to activate the muscles that I'm going to be using for my squats. I'm going to be doing some back squats today in my workout, but you can use these for any squats. So come down here with me, start doing these dorsiflexion lunges if you haven't already. Good. Oh yeah, all right. I'm gonna switch sides here and starting out lighter, and each rep I'm trying to challenge myself, getting a little bit deeper into it, trying to make sure my heel stays in contact with the ground. All right. And if you are just joining us for the first time, we've got lots of different workouts for you here on the channel, so make sure to check those out. Please like the video if you enjoy it, and subscribe to the channel for more workouts, warm-ups, and everything else fitness. Good. You can really do as many of these as feels good. I'm gonna stop right there, and then I'm going to start on some knee movement here. This is going to be just a tibia rotation, so I've got same side as the leg, arm under, and then I'm gonna grab my opposite arm bicep, bring that hand on top of the knee, dorsiflex my ankle here, and then I'm just trying to move the tibia. This might cause some cramping if you haven't done this before. Cramps are okay though. Just try to work through them. It's just the muscle saying, hey, you don't normally use me to do this. And we're just trying to go for some external and internal rotation. Your internal rotation typically is going to be more limited than your external with the tibia. And you don't want this to just be an ankle movement. You want to try and get that tibia to rotate with the foot. Really good for the knee. Good. And we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. Same side arm, wraps under, grab the bicep, hand over top, dorsiflex, and then just going for that tibia rotation, external and internal. We'll start with some of this mobility stuff. We'll get the heart rate up a little bit as well. And we'll make sure that all your joints feel nice and juicy by the end of this, ready for whatever you're going to do for your workout. There we go. All right, moving into 90-90 position here. And you know, if you can't get into this position upright, you can always lean back a little bit and support yourself. But if you can, as upright as you're able here, I'm gonna start first by just stretching out over top of that front leg, taking a few nice deep breaths here. Woo. Feels good on my back today. Shoulders are a little bit tight today, so this is really nice. stretching that back line from the shoulder all the way down through the glute and into the hamstring. Now I'm going to start to activate by pushing this front leg down into the ground, and that's going to help lift my body up, so I'm not really using my hands to lift myself up or my back. I'm pressing down to create that tension and leverage to get myself up. Now I'm going to start by focusing on my back leg here, bringing hands down in front of me and just leaning forward over top of that front leg that I just stretched a little bit. I'm going to try and rotate internally here. We want to hit some internal rotation of that hip. If you can, lifting the foot off the ground, but knee stays in contact with the ground. And you don't want to achieve this just by leaning forward, right? You want to try and stay as upright as you can and get that nice internal rotation of the hip. Holding at that end range. Good. And bringing it back down. We're going to go through the bear sit, transition to the other side, do those same things on the other side now. So I'm just going to adjust so you can see me properly here. Now with your bear sit, we're just trying to switch position into the opposite direction. So I'm going to start by lifting my back leg, sweeping the back heel under, stretching adductors and through the groin there, trying to stay upright, bringing hands forward, but you can always lean back if you need, depending on your hip mobility. I'm trying to let this leg drag behind as long as possible as I come down into the bear sit there on the other side. I'm going to adjust so I'm not eating the grass over here. And then same thing, I'm stretching out over top of now my left leg here. A few nice deep breaths. One more nice deep breath. And on this out breath, start to push that leg down, using that leverage to lift yourself back up into the full seated position here. Same thing as on the other side. We're going to try and stay as upright as we can, and we're going to go into some internal rotation for that back leg. Now my right leg. I'm using my hands here to help balance. Ooh, yeah. Feeling it on that side today. Nice internal rotation to lift the foot if possible, but it's okay if it doesn't lift as long as you are getting that sensation of that internal rotation of the hip itself. Holding for a few more seconds here at your end range and release that tension. We're going to go back through the bear sit onto the other side here. So like I said, you can lean back to help with this if necessary, but if you can stay upright, lifting that leg, trying to get as much distance between the knees as possible as you go through all the way into the other side. Nice. Great start here. Hopefully that's already feeling good. We're going to move now into some hip flexion hovers here. And this is going to activate hip flexors and quads. So for this one, I want to try and be as upright as I can here, right? And then I'm going to be lifting my leg up and over top, controlling it down. You want this to be difficult. You want it to barely get over the object that you're using. And you can use a yoga block or anything. Just need a little bit of height to it. You can start here and see how difficult it is for you. If you've never done these before, they can be quite spicy. But your goal is to be as upright, as forward as possible over top of your hips here so that it's a real challenge for your hip flexor to go into that flexion and lift and control, okay? So we're going to do 6 of these per side, and I'm going to start on this side. It's over and back for 1 rep here. All right, getting ready, and let's do it. Lifting, controlling, setting it down. And if I can do that, then I'll try to get a little bit further forward. I can use my hands to kind of push myself forward. I should just barely be able to get over top. Good. 2. 3. And you don't want to do these too quickly. Dorsiflex your foot here, your ankle if you're not already. Yeah. It's going to help get a little bit of work into the calf as well, at least a stretch in there. Oh yeah, one more here. Great. And we'll switch sides. Okay. Here we go. There's one. Two. Try to push myself a little further forward. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. 3. 4. 5. Last one here. And that's 6. Oh yeah. Woo. Feeling good. Feeling spicy there. All right. And now, we're going to do hip car, full mobility on each side. Okay. And then one more exercise where we're really getting our heart rate up a little bit and getting a little bit more work safely into the legs before we go into our full squats here. And it's always great, no matter what kind of squat you're doing, to first round at least, if you're using a bar, start with an empty bar. Just get the pattern in, right, with a little bit of weight, things like that. So that could be the first exercise you do before going into your full squat, whether it's a goblet squat, overhead squat, rack squat, back squat, whatever you're doing, okay? We're going to do an isometric squat with a little bit of weight for fun here too. All right, first, we're going into the hip car. Now, this is quadruped position. Try to get a good angle for you. As you can see here, we do have videos explaining the hip car if you're unfamiliar with this exercise, but I will cue it for you, and you can always watch and rewind. Okay, this is full hip rotation, controlled articular rotation for the hip here. I'm dorsiflexing my feet here. I'm in my quadruped position, nice and stable, and I'm going to start by lifting my left leg here, forward into flexion, lifting into abduction, trying to keep my hips even and my back stable, square to the ground. Good. Starting to let it drift back as I rotate internally to bring it all the way around, squeezing the heel towards the glute here, trying to get that nice hamstring engagement, that hip extension here, and without going into, a lot of extension for the back. Trying to stay nice and stable, long spine. Bringing it down and forward, back into flexion, back up into my hip extension. Now, keeping my foot high, I'm going to let my knee and leg drift out for some abduction of the hip there, and then start to go through external rotation, all the way down through flexion again, and back to neutral. We'll do one more on that side, then we'll switch side for 2 rounds on the other side here. Lifting, dorsiflexing the foot, lifting the knee, forward into flexion, abduction, internal rotation to hip extension, down into your flexion, back up into your hip extension, letting that leg drift out, external rotation, all the way down and around. Nice. All right, let's switch sides. We'll spend a little bit more time on the first round, just like we did on the other side, so you get plenty of time in your hip extension. Nice and spicy. All right, getting ready. Dorsiflexing the feet, lifting that knee, forward into flexion, lifting into your abduction, holding here. Nice. Letting it slowly drift back as the foot comes up through internal rotation. Squaring hips and back to the ground here if they've started to open up too much, and then squeezing the heel, finding that high hip extension. Hamstring should be active, possibly cramping here. Good. Squeezing that heel as best as you can for extra activation, finding that height, but keeping a nice long spine, a little bit of posterior pelvic tilt, and then bringing that knee down and forward through flexion, back into extension, keeping the foot high as you go through abduction here, and external rotation all the way down and around. Woo, yeah, feels good. One more on this side, a little bit faster, and then we're gonna move into the last exercise we're doing in the video here. And then you're ready to squat. Let's do it. All right, dorsiflex foot, forward into flexion, abduction, internal rotation to hip extension, forward into flexion, back up into your hip extension, through abduction and external rotation, and rest. All right. Take a moment if you need it. Grab your band and your weight. I'm going to use the timer for this one. Let's get that set up. There we go. So, first thing, you're going to put it just above your knees, around the legs there. You want this to be a squat stance, so I'm going to have my hips, or my feet, just a little bit wider than my hips for this one. And we're going to be coming down into a full squat, holding at the low point, the deep squat, right? We are going to hold the weight for this one, just so there's a little bit of weight into it, and then we're going to hold for time, okay? So this is going to be a fun one. Definitely get spicy. If, you have to come out of it before I do your best here. Do what your body's capable of today. For me, I like to have my toes just a little bit outturned. It helps with my deep squat, and that's perfectly fine. It's not going to, that's not going to be a problem for you. But if you can squat with toes forward, that's fine too. All right. I'm going to start with my weight just held at my chest here, trying to keep my elbows nice and tight and inside my legs when I come down. All right, getting ready in 3, 2, 1, coming down into your deep squat here. Now in my squat, I'm also creating pressure outward into this band. I don't want the band to pull my legs in, so you want that abduction, activating those abductors here for your deep squat position. And I'm not letting the weight pull me too far forward. I've still got my nice chair position here. Good. Holding 3, 2, 1, and come up. Rest 15, and then we're gonna do another one, okay? 10 more seconds of rest here. Getting ready for it. Coming back down in, and go. Deep squat. Keep those elbows in nice and tight so that weight stays in the body. Holding at your deep squat, keeping that abduction, pressure, tension of the legs pushing out into the band. Good. 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah. Oh. Rest. You can bring the weight down a little bit. Don't get so lightheaded that you pass out. You can always get a little bit of an angle if you need. Take your rest here. We got 15 more seconds of rest. This is a longer rest. We're going to do one more round, okay? You can do, several of these as well with longer rest periods between if you want. Getting ready. Weight up and down into it. Keep breathing. Your breath is your source of energy here. You don't have to have your abs super engaged, just enough to help hold the weight and stabilize your back. And if you feel any burning, tingling in the groin area or surrounding, you're putting too much pressure into it, too much pressure into your abdomen. 3, 2, 1. Ah! Ooh! Oh, yeah. Thank you for warming up with me today. This has been a warm-up for squats with iron mobility. Super happy to have led you through this today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like the video. And of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to Iron Mobility here on YouTube. We love making fun videos for you, warm-ups, workouts, all kinds of stuff. And, drop a comment if there's something you want to see that we haven't made before, or if you have questions. Thank you so much. And as always, everyone should be free. Nobody should be killing children. Abolish ICE. I'm here for it. Let's go. Time to make this a real great place to live for everybody. Thank you. See you next one.